Friends, excuse me. I was sitting there this morning. I just happened to be going through my brushes and I found this adorable it's a little mini mop. It's called 1/8 inch by Princeton. It is the Velvet Touch, of course. Isn't it cute? It's adorable. And really, I don't tend to use small brushes because I tend to paint larger. But I believe I had purchased this one so that I could play with some clouds. I was doing a lot of beach type commissions, and I think that's where I had purchased it. So I wanted to share it with you because if you're in the mood to try a different brush, this one is really fun. You're going to be shocked how many different ways you can get creative with it. And it's really, it's kind of like a little powerhouse, even though it's so small, but it's very soft, it's absorbent. So let me show you a few ways you can use it. The first way that I wanted to share, and we'll go through all these, is you can use it with color pencils to kind of blend or paint. So let me just show you that first, and then we'll kind of go through some of the other ones. So and you can use it to paint with as well. It's not just for softening or, lifting paint or anything like that. So let me do this. Let me grab 2 color pencils. Let's just do, how about if we do pink and orange? So here's a pink one, and then let me find a yellow, and I will show you here. Here we go. So we've got a red, and you know what? Actually, let's do red and blue. I think that would be prettier. Okay, so here's our red and blue. So I'm going to just put down my red first, and this is a pretty nice, cool red. I'm just using it on its side. I don't like to use the points too much because these are a soft lead. This is the Artisto brand, which I love. And then here's my cool blue. Just using it on its side, but kind of gently. And then watch, let me get my little mini mop. I've got it in my water here. And the reason I like it is because even though it's small, it kind of loosens up the paint that maybe has sunk into the cold pressed paper. So look at that, how pretty. That was actually blue and red, and it created this beautiful purple. So really good for blending 2 colors together, and especially color pencils, because I feel like it loosens up that textury look that can sometimes come with pencils. And then the second one I want to do, let's just do the same thing with paint, and it's basically going to look very similar. So here's my pinky red color, and then let's do our blue. And I'm just going to blend those together here. Rinse my brush. Tap it off. And we've got that beautiful blend. Isn't that pretty? So it does a really good job because it is so soft. Now let me show you some other uses for it. So I have had a really fun time with these little mini washes and clouds. Let me show you. Let's use our brush, and we'll just kind of create a background here, but wait till you see how great it works even as a little wash. For a sky, for a background, then I'm going to just pull that down. By the way, it is pretty absorbent. I don't know if you can tell here. So when you're putting it on your paper, it does tend to pick up the pigment on your paper. So I wanted to share that. By the way, it does this as well. Watch this. So look at the edges here. If you want to soften up your edges, look at that. Isn't that great? That was another way I really enjoyed using it. I used to do a lot of beach scenes where the edges, you know, I do like a circle with a wave down in here, and I would soften up all the edges. So really good for that. Now, while that is drying, I can go in, and this lifts really, really well. So I can lift up some clouds, just keep tapping my brush off. Lifts really well. Just picking up, may get my brush just a little wet. There we go. Keep wiping my brush off. But look at how well that's lifting that paint right out. And then I can even go back in there and I can add in maybe some darker color underneath the clouds. So I'm just gonna tap that in. Look how perfect that is. Isn't that great? I'm so glad I located this brush again because I completely forgot I even had it. So I'm gonna leave that just like it is, but look at those beautiful clouds. And I could keep going in and kind of softening that edge if I wanted to. Kind of blending it out. I'm just tapping on my little towel here. And it really blends beautifully. Let me hold that up again so you can see, because I think this is some ways this brush really excels. Let's see. Oh, here's a fun one. So I can use it for little flowers. Let's see, let's use our blue again. And I'm just going to hold my brush straight up and down, vertical. And look at that. It makes like a perfect little flower. Let's get in there, and maybe I rinsed it off now, so I'm just kind of blurring out some of the edges like that. Maybe add a little pink, or let's see, let's find our pink. Add in some of that. But look how easy. And then I can go in, and I would just use a regular brush, but just to give you an idea, or even a pen. And just draw in, you know, and then you can do your leaves. So something like that. Isn't that fun? Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, let me show you this, but I have to show you this on here. So it does really well lifting. If I wanted to create like a highlight, say this was a little ball, I could just, now different colors, of course, are going to pick up easier, but this does pretty well. So I just want to create a little highlight there, and I can tap it off too. So it does really well with that. Let's paint a flower, and then there's two ways I really like to use it with the flowers. Let me show you. I'm gonna go for this color here. So you can paint with this as well, just like a mini mop. So point, press, just twist my brush around. Point, press, twist my brush around. Point, press. I'm just spinning the brush, and look how easy I can make those. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse that off, and I'm rinsing and tapping it off so it's not real wet. Now what I can do is I can go in here if I want a real soft look, and I can just soften those edges. like that. Isn't that fantastic? Just keep rinsing my brush. And look how pretty that is. Let's see, I can do the middle just with some dots because this can tend, if you dry it off more, to have a textury effect. So I've got that, and I'm just going to look at that. It's almost like stippling. See that? So I can use it just like that. Now, if this is spreading too much with me, I can use the brush to dry it off, go back in, and I can lift some of that up or lighten it up. Look at that, how well it works. You will get, by the way, a little bit of a difference if you're going into it once it's completely dry and once if you do it right away when it's wet. So here is this. What happens if you go into it when it's dry already, keep in mind you get blooms because you're going into a drier layer with more wetness. So it'll create these blooms. So I try to do this technique while my flower is kind of wet. I mean, you can get that bloom. I think the blooms are actually pretty, so they don't bother me. So that's how that works. I think that's about my basic ones. You can always use it just like a paintbrush and just going like a little mini mop. It works very well. It's relatively soft, which I kind of like. Let's do another little petal here. You're not going to get, of course, real, detail type thin line strokes with it, obviously. So there's a little flower on its side. Now let's just say I want to create a little highlight on the lip of this. So I'm drawing my brush quite a bit, and I can pick some of that up, and it almost looks like the bottom of that petal is kind of flipping up. I hope this gave you some ideas to play with this. I'd love to hear how maybe you've used this in the past. I'm going to rinse that off and use a little bit of a dry brush there. That was my intention. Look at that. I could also go in there and pick some of that up if I feel it's too dark. Just keep tapping off my brush. And that's the other way I meant to show you. You could use it. So if you did have a flower, let's see, let me just do a quick flower here. Like this. Like this. I'm just spinning my brush. I mean, it couldn't get much easier than this. There we go. And now say I want to just create that center. So I'm going to wash, rinse, tap off. Now see, there's still paint on there. So I'm just going to keep tapping off. And now I can create that center just by doing little circles that will lift. I'm kind of spinning my brush around. And there you go. So it's a great little lifting brush, but it also does all these other things. And I did love it with the pencil because I felt like a lot of times when I use the pencil, you get that texture, and I don't always like that. Now, if I wanted to do maybe a little lip here, I could pull some of that out. I mean, play with this and have fun. See what you discover. I'd love to hear how you might use this brush. All right, everybody, I hope that was fun and giving you some inspiration And I will definitely link this for you. I've had it for a while, so I'll go back and get the link for you. Perfect, really, ideal for clouds. I mean, and even flowers. All right, everybody, I will talk to you soon. Happy painting.